I wanted to do a little video about baby names because it's something that people seem to be talking about all the time. We found out what we were having when we were pregnant on Billy. I kind of from the get-go wanted to find out the gender, and so did Peter. But some people in our lives didn't want us to find out, so we decided that we would find out, but we would tell nobody except for my mum. So yeah, we found out at our 22-week scan, and we found out we were having a boy. But before we actually officially found out we were having a boy, I knew we were having a boy. Like, okay, I know there was a 50% chance I was always going to be right with my guess, but like I seriously knew I was having a boy. I just knew. I just felt it was a boy from the moment I was pregnant. I just couldn't even entertain the idea of a girl. Although I would have been obviously delighted if it was a girl. I just knew it was a boy. I was like, yeah, pregnant with a boy. This is happening, and what will we call him? Literally. Like, I'm one of those people that I like to be really organised, and I just like to have a plan, and I overthink everything. But when it came to baby names, I actually didn't do that, which is really, really weird. I think I was just so happy to be pregnant. And I was just so like grateful for the experience of being pregnant, and I was just kind of like living on this little bubble that the whole baby name thing was never really that important to me until quite late into the pregnancy. So actually we didn't have any names. You're watching a film and you'd say, oh, I don't like that name. You know, we had those conversations, but we never actually said, would you call our baby that? It never really came to that. And then one night, out of the blue, Peter turns around to me and he says, would it be kind of cool to call it, you know, if we had a boy, like, call it after my dad and call it Billy? And I was like, yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, I love that. And he was like, ah, yeah, it's just a thought, like, be cute, like, wouldn't it be gas, ha ha ha. And I was beside him and I was like, yeah, no, we'll do that. Yeah, that's the name. And he was like, well, like, we'll see how we feel, like, you know. And I was like, no, I think we'll go for that, like, we'll go for it. And Peter was like, are you sure about that? Like, should we not sort of think about it for a little bit longer? But it was one of those weird things where, like, when he said the name, I was like, yeah, that's it. It's Billy. He's Billy. We're having a boy, and it's definitely Billy. That's the name. He's Billy. And Peter was just laughing at me because he knows how fickle I am. I change my mind so often about these things that he was kind of like, okay, we'll just we'll pick Billy, and yeah, grand. And I was like, I'm actually being serious. I love the name Billy. I just love it. And the one thing I always said was I didn't want a name that was too different, and I also didn't want a name that was too plain. But I kind of liked simple enough names that like didn't have loads of syllables and that didn't have loads of letters, and that couldn't really be shortened too much. So then Peter was saying, oh, well, obviously my dad's name is William, but people call him Billy, so would we do the same? And I was like, no, I think I actually like Billy. So I would never know Peter's dad as William. I've always only known him as Billy, and I've always loved his name. So I said, why don't we just call him Billy and put Billy on the birth cert, and Billy will be his name. Like, William won't even come into it. And Peter was like, okay. So I was like, Billy Byrne. I was like, it has a little ring to it, so that's obviously Peter's dad's name, Billy Byrne. So we just kind of kept it to ourselves for a while, and then a couple of weeks passed, and I started referring to the baby as Billy in private, like when it was just me and Peter. And he would be laughing at me, and he'd be like, are we really doing this? Like, is this happening? And I was like, yeah, like, I really love the name. So then when it came to our scan and we we found out that we were having a boy. Well, we were pretty sure we were having a boy. The sonographer wasn't exactly very friendly about the whole thing. So, like, it was my first pregnancy. I went in, someone had told me that on that, you know, anatomy scan you can find out the gender. So I just went in and said, hi Kai, and I was all excited, and she said, you're here for your, you know, anatomy scan, we're going to check the organs. And I said, yeah, and also the gender, like. And I was like, the gender? And she was like, well, I'm absolutely not obligated to tell you the gender of the child. You're here for medical reasons, to make sure that the baby's okay. And basically made me feel like the worst person ever, and like I was some sort of superficial, like, airhead who didn't care about the health of the baby. She was quite mean about it, really. And I understand that that's what she's there to do, and that's her job, and she must have so many horrible experiences where it's not good news when they're scanning for babies and stuff. And like, I get that, but like, surely she could know from my records it was my first time being pregnant, and I was just going by what people would tell me, and that was that you can ask at that scan. So anyway, just be prepared for that, just in case you have the same experience as I did. But anyway, at the end of the scan, at the very last second, she said, yeah, they look like, I think she said that looks like a scrotum or something like that. So Peter kind of went, and I went, boy, it's a boy, Peter. And so I knew it was a boy. I wasn't surprised, but I was like, see, told you it's a boy. And from that day on, we just referred to him as Billy. So when Billy was born, we didn't tell anybody his name. My mum knew his name. That was it. And actually, my mum and my sister both knew. And when he was born, we didn't like announce his name to anybody or anything like that. We wanted to wait till Billy, Granda Billy, came in to meet him. So he walked into the coombe and it was just so adorable, and he was like obviously so overwhelmed to meet his grandson and everything. And Peter just goes, well, Billy, meet Billy. And Peter's dad was like, huh? And Peter was like, meet Billy Byrne. And like for a second he just didn't get it. He was like, and then he kind of went, oh. And we were like, we named him Billy. We named him Billy after you. His name is Billy Byrne. And it was just such a cute moment. And like, it was like Billy was in his arms and he was already emotional, like meeting his grandchild, his first grandchild, and his little grandson. And the fact that we named him after him meant a lot to him. And it was just a really lovely moment. And it's gas because like, it's such a traditional thing to do, like to name a child after like a loved one. But we never really meant to do it that way. I loved the name Billy. It just felt right when he said, let's name him after my dad. It just felt right. So then for his second name, we went for Sean. Because Sean is my granddad's name. My granddad passed away a couple of years ago and we were really, really close. So Billy Sean, we just liked the way it sounded. And there's actually a funny story. I went in to register his birth, and when you were filling out the form, the lady was like, where do you want to put the father? So do you want to put it on the E or do you want to put it on the A? And anyway, this is terrible. I can't actually remember where I put it. Did I put it on the E or the A? But anyway, wherever I put it, this is just typical of me. Wherever I put it, a couple of months later, we were talking to our friends who are from Belmullet. You might have seen in our vlog a few weeks ago, we went down to visit them. And they all speak Irish. They live in the Gaeltacht. And they informed me that wherever I had put the father in his name actually meant that the name was Shan, so like, which means old. So his name is actually Old Billy. So instead of Billy Sean, it's Old Billy, which I think is kind of funny personally because he is kind of a little outflow. Like people always say, oh, he's been here before. But yeah, that's really it. That's our name, and that's how we came up with Billy Byrne, Billy Sean Byrne, and it's quite a simple story. There's nothing really, we didn't have any baby books, we didn't like look online, we didn't have loads of names and have to sort of, numb it down at the last minute. It just, Peter suggested one day and it made perfect sense. A couple of weeks after Billy was born, Brian O'Driscoll called his son Billy, so I kind of felt that we probably inspired that on some level. Obviously not. And I don't think they're going to be going to the same school, something tells me, so it'll be grand. I've heard people say that they know a Billy, but I've never actually met a parent at any of the like parent toddler groups or online or anything that has said that their child's name is Billy. It seems to be an older name for an older generation, but I love it and it really suits them. And that's the story of how we decided on it. Thanks a million for watching, as always, and don't forget to subscribe and like Channel Mum if you don't want to miss these types of videos, and please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you like what I do, because I only started YouTube like 6 months ago, but it's grown and I'm really enjoying it and I love watching videos myself. I will see you in my next video. See ya.